story number 2. And I'm going to reorder this a little bit because it makes more sense. But Kai Cenat has too much influencer power. And you're talking about influencers and people doing things. Kai was just a Twitch streamer, but recently he showed up big in the news because basically he caused a riot in New York's Union Square. He said, "Hey, I'm going to give out some PS5 $600 video game systems. We're going to hang out. It's going to be crazy. Everybody come out there." And yeah, everybody did come out. Like everybody caused a riot. There were a whole bunch of people out there. It was out of control. There was some fighting when the police came and tried to break it up. You got all these under 18 kids throwing stuff at the police and kicking the squad cars. It got a little rowdy. Nothing major. It's like kids, with soda cans and stuff and trash. Not like a riot, but yeah, it was out of control. But this is another moment where you need to stop and realize that these influencers are on another level. And if you're not noticing it, you're missing out on what's actually happening. No mainstream. We're jumping on Twitch. We're jumping on Instagram. We're jumping on TikTok. We're jumping on YouTube. We're talking our piece straight to the people and we're building something crazy and new. And it's out of control. Theo, did you ever expect to hear about somebody giving away PS5s in New York and causing a riot?
I did not. I didn't know who this guy was until you put it in the show notes, man. Yeah, this is the new reality. Audiences, fandom is so fragmented now. We just talked about Beyonce and Taylor Swift, and a lot of people know them because of prior to the big internet era that we're in, social media era, they've been big stars. But now you have people who get millions of views that no one ever heard of. That's almost like watching a TV show, a bit hit TV show, and no one know who those people are. But there's so many different shows out there. And this guy you mentioned to me, he's this the new version of a late night talk show. He's doing skits, he's doing obviously doing reaction videos. He's got his own core audience. He's got his players that show up, like his bodyguard. You showed me one of his bodyguard that was he was stealing food from. So it's just like ongoing bits that you see from TV
Yeah.
shows and other type comedy shows. It's just like a new era of not just influencer, but personality, right?
Yeah.
TV personality.
So it's and interviews too, just like a late night talk show. This is the new version of that. I think he had what's her name? Ice Spice. So
Mhm.
he was interviewing Ice Spice. And you know what they started doing halfway through the interview? They started doing a TikTok dance. So they're like, hold on, how do you do that dance? And they just stopped and like actually started doing the little dance. And of course, they're streaming it to TikTok. So every one of his guests, his bodyguard, by the way, that you mentioned earlier, who broke in and stole his food, hi- his bodyguards, his driver, all of them, they run their own streams out of this big house. So they call it the Amp House, and they do a bunch of filming and recording there. If Kai is on there streaming and he starts eating, you can go watch the other dude stream, the bodyguard stream, and he'll be sitting there like playing video games or something on his Twitch screen. And he'll see Kai eating and he'll like, oh, hold up, what's going on? And he'll actually leave his stream and you'll see him jump in on Kai's stream. It's a phenomenal level of just, hey, wait, what's happening? And you can watch it in the chat. Oh man, I'm over on such and such a stream. He's driving over to Kai's house right now. It's mind blowing the way it's so connected to the people and regular. This is stuff we used to talk about in college and stuff we used to do. And we're wondering if we had a camera on ourselves, like if me and you had a camera on ourselves while we were playing Mario Kart and suddenly some other streamer is on Twitch or TikTok, like live streaming. Hey, I heard Theo was trying to play some Mario Kart, get in some practice before we had our tournament this weekend. So I'm gonna go in there and mess with them. It's just this whole weird interconnectedness, and I'm totally fascinated by it.
Yeah, me too. I do wonder as people, like I said, as the producers and consumers, are we becoming more consumers now because everything is so accessible? So instead of creating your own group of friends where you can share communal experience together like we did in college, right? Now you're like, oh, get hanging with Ben. I'm going to watch a Twitch guy do the exact same thing, just play video games. Cause we used to do that too. I remember coming over to your house or you coming over to mine and we watched someone play video. I saw someone go through all of Resident Evil, the first one, in 30 minutes. and we all
Yeah,
stood around the TV and watched it. And then someone knew that was going to be a big thing, and that's how Twitch started. Because watching people play video games is pretty much Twitch in a nutshell.
yeah,
Is more than that now. But yeah, so I think all this stuff is interesting because it's like we would have done that back in the day, right? If we had video. But then I question, does this next generation even have that ambition to do so? And in case in point, I'm just thinking about like some of my nieces who are in their Gen Z millennials. There is that lack of somewhat ambition, somewhat that go get itness, right? I
yeah.
think that's lacking in
Okay.
this next generation. It's almost, oh man, I gotta get my resume together. Oh man, I gotta go interview. Uh, oh man, I gotta. There's no. Oh yeah, where's oh I gotta get these 100 interviews. I'm gonna go to these conferences. I'm gonna
Yeah,
pass out these. I do sense that a little bit, man. And I'm not saying it's the internet's fault, social media's fault, but I do feel like there's a big question mark around. Are they getting the dopamine hits and their sense of experiences from the influencers as opposed to experiencing themselves? And so that's something that this guy Kai is people living vicarious, right? They're living their lives through what he's doing. And it's almost like the same as if you're experiencing it, right? And so I
yeah,
think that could be a concern.
yeah. There definitely is that, but it's like I think there's so much more connectedness to the like we were very far away from an Arsenio Hall or a Jay Leno. We're very far away from it. And the closest we could probably get to that is maybe write a letter or do a cable access show and that which took a lot of work in itself. But if you look at
Man, cable access, boy, back in the day, boy, that was legit stuff, man.
uh
That's when you got all the craziness showing up on.
shout out to Reverend X for anybody that knows.
Man, shout out to the local Tampa station that always have the local strippers on, man. It was like, what? They put this on basic cable?
Like why are
Cable
you
access?
yeah, common. But if you have a PS5 or any of the new systems, you can basically stream and share from the system. It's built into it. So while you're sitting there playing, you could like, hey, I want to share this last 30 seconds or whatever to Twitter. And off it goes. And that's how people are making all these clips and things. You just have this instant share that's built into the systems, community
Gotcha.
built into it. We talk about streaming a lot, streaming movies and TVs. They've actually been pulling away from the connectivity. But if you look at these game systems, they've really been leaning heavily into it. So I'm playing a game, I get my friends in, everybody's hanging around and so forth. But it's crazy and it's just very interesting. If you're not watching what's happening, this is a big shift that's turning us all into these, as Gary Vee calls them, little autonomous connected media companies. So
I agree.
you
So
and I
Gary
are
V.
little autonomous, connected, and individual media companies.
We trying, man. We trying in these streets. So go check out Show versus Business on YouTube Shorts. Give us a shout out.
That's right. That's right.